Jagrata. It is almost a measure of how deep you are to the root, is how clearly you see that fear is what's running everything in one's inner being, one's personality, as well as one's interaction with life. This is why it takes courage to do something as simple as letting life be what it is. It is almost impossible to let life be what it is. Even though the reality is we have absolutely no control over it in any reasonable way, still the hardest task is to let it be. Why? Because of the fear. Because the reality is that deep inside, literally where the soul touches this form, at that point is where this primal fear comes from. When the soul loses its sense of self, it forgets it's omniscient and omnipresent, and it touches this individual tiny piece of form, this body, this individual self, and it identifies with it. At that moment, which is symbolized as the fall from the garden, from the infinite state of clarity and wisdom where all things are complete and whole, because you don't have to do anything, because the self is self-sufficient. When you touch this knowledge of individuality, it creates the impact of tremendous fear. You're lost. You're completely out of sync with your sense and knowledge and wisdom of self. And in this lost state, one reaches out to try to find some security, to try and find some stability, to try and find some definition of safety. This whole reaching outward, which comes from this core of fear, is what creates the ego, is what creates all concepts of self, and is what governs our entire interaction with life. Because we're doing that from inside, all of us, because that is the fountain from which this whole personality is being built, then it is almost impossible to let life happen to you. Because you're not trying to experience life, you're trying to make life be safe. You're trying to do everything you can from inside out to utilize form to create a resting place, to create the semblance of safety, to create that which you do not have deep inside. You try to make it for yourself with these outer interactions. And so you try to enter into relationships and try to make them secure, try to make them fixed, try to make them non-changing, try to feel that you know everything that's going on in the other person's heart, in the other person's mind. Try to feel that this person would never ever be dishonest to you or lie to you, that you know absolutely everything that there is to know about that person. Why? Why don't you want to know everything there is to know about the cat, everything there is to know about the roach, everything there is to know about the tree or the snake or anything? Because you have not decided to find your safety in the roach. You have decided to find your safety in this other person. And so the whole of this fear, and if you have not seen it yet, you have to go look. You have to find this root, and you will see that what you're trying to do is utilize your relationships, your career, money, your looks, the health of your body, your attributes that are good, your qualities, your talents, to try and manipulate this world, people, places, and things, so that they become safe. You want it to be safe. You know you do. How can you tell? Just let any one of these things that you're trying to rest on change one iota. Just wear something different than you thought they were wearing. Just say something in a slightly different tone than what you expected to hear. And I want to know what happens inside of you. I want to see where the change takes place within you. And you'll raise your hand and you say, deep in my heart. Well, that's weird. That somebody changed their clothes and your heart hurts. That you dial on the telephone and nobody answers and your heart hurts. That you come home and words are not said the way you expect them, or the intonation of the voice is not like this, and where does it hurt? Your heart. Isn't that weird? How can it be that every one of these outside things hurts your heart? You know it does. And the reason is because of what we're talking about. It's like a pointer that's pointing to the spot I've been discussing. You are living from inside out. And the beginning place is this fear, this insecurity, this complete sense of lostness. And you're trying to define this away through this outer life and to create meaning where there is none. To sit there and forget that you're sitting on a planet spinning around in the middle of nowheres and make some big deal out of whether you got an A or a B, or the fact that you ran faster than somebody else. We make up all kinds of weird things to make ourselves seem meaningful. Or if they sit there and take a tree and cut it down into little dollar bills, they make it, whoever has the most, that's had meaning. Or how many children, offspring you had, or what your children grew up to be, or anything. There's billions of people always running around. It's like everybody's just making up stuff so that we'll have meaning. But all you have to do is go into the shuttle off the planet and watch this thing spin around. Now tell me what meaning there is. They sure as heck can't be down there in that little ball, because that's just one little ball spinning around one star, and there's billions of stars, and it goes on forever anyways. So how can you be doing this? And what you see, if you want to have real meaning, is that this fear inside, deep inside, this lost being, is living a false life and is out there trying to gain security and safety and so on through all of these different methodologies we've talked about. This is not truth. This is not truth. It has nothing to do with this. Truth is to go back to the root of this fear, which is what will happen to you if you decide to let go and say to life, do your thing. Do your thing. I am open. Let come what come. Let go what goes. Let those who like me like me. Let those who hate me hate me. Let wealth come when it will. Let it depart when it will. Let health come when it will. Let sickness come when it will. Let each and everything in life go about its business, like everything else goes about its business. The trees grow, the spring comes, the leaves come out, all kinds of things go on. And it doesn't hurt your heart. Why do only certain things hurt your heart? Because those are the things that you use to hide from yourself. It is guaranteed that if it touched your heart, it is because at some point you reached out from this lost state and positioned that thing in front of you and said, you'll help me avoid myself. You'll be the way I expect you to be. You'll say what I expect you to say. You'll, etc., etc., etc. And so you made a tie from the lost self, the scared self, to these outer forms of people, places, and things. And you will see that every time it touches your heart, it's because you have done that. So basically, what yoga teaches is if you want to be free and safe and in harmony, it will never happen that way. You are so wasting your time. That's why the great one Buddha said, when it's all said and done, the highest state is compassion. He didn't say enlightenment, he said compassion. Because when you come to see that that's what's going on, and you meet beings that are doing that, you don't even bother teaching, because there's nothing to teach. If somebody is still living from that fearful state deep inside, attempting to find the right person, do the right thing, change this, do that, they still think there's something that's going to happen outside that's going to make that go away. Well, it's the funniest thing that ever lived. There's absolutely nothing that's going to happen outside that's going to make that go away. The only thing that's going to happen outside is you're going to hide from yourself. If you're scared to death and you build a wall around you and you can't wait to build it high enough so the fear goes away, you're in big trouble. Because the very fact that you have to live inside of a wall does not indicate that the fear went away. It just indicates that you've managed to keep yourself from feeling it. I can't believe, I always tell the story of somebody that hired 50 bodyguards with Uzis And they live inside of the circle of these people. And then they send little messages, spitballs out over the top. And to their family they say, I'm okay now. I'm okay, I don't feel afraid anymore. Really? Then why are you surrounded by 50 people with Uzis? And what exactly happens if they all fall down at once? 1, 2, 3, drop. You have a heart attack. You die. In other words, you are scared to death. That is the same thing people are doing with life. Is you're scared in there, deep inside. And so we try to manipulate life in order to not be afraid. The yogi knows it doesn't work. The yogi knows it will never work. How can it possibly work? It's hiding. So when you meet someone who is in that state, the yogi has compassion, because this person is trying to get water from a rock. This person is trying to find something where it isn't. And so they're not going to get there, and this is sad. And this is compassion. And I'm telling you, there's nothing to teach such a person. The only teacher is life. Because life, over time, teaches the soul that it's temporal. And it doesn't work. And that all these things are going to change. And you're going to go out there and try to reach for these things and grab these things and think they're going to make you safe. And you're going to see that they're not. And you're going to blame everybody and everything until eventually your soul remembers, now wait a minute, it was always that way. And if it wasn't this person saying what I want to hear, it'd be that person saying what I want to hear. If it wasn't this hurting my heart, it'd be this hurting my heart. And you just catch on that it's the fact that your heart attempted to hide in this world that is hurting your heart. And now you're ready for spiritual growth. And not a moment before that. And you must come to that state yourself. And now you're a seeker. Therefore no one has to teach you, because you're a seeker. And the seeker always finds. And you will start to see that life teaches you. That if you reverse this pattern and stop trying to use life as a hiding place, which is not what it's meant to be, it's meant to be a flashlight. It's meant to be the light of truth that opens up and shines directly on all that fear inside. Isn't that frightening? Of course. How can fear not be frightening? By definition, fear is frightening. And therefore, if you let life in, it will be a scary experience at first. At first, it will keep showing you all of this fear that you have inside. And so you have to be bold. You have to be daring to sit there and say to life, yes, I don't want to use you as a hiding place. I want you to reveal what I'm hiding inside of me. And so every moment of every day you open for no reason other than you want out. And you let people behave the way they behave, and you let events unfold the way they unfold, and you learn to breathe. See, this is why people don't understand why yogis teach pranayama. They teach pranayama so you learn to breathe deep when all these things are going on. I'm okay. And you just keep letting it in, and you will see that it keeps revealing these fearful situations. So now you find yourself in a situation where you're afraid to be honest with somebody. Here's this, and you see this. But the situation is demanding that you be honest with this person, or that you say this, or reveal this, and basically you feel you're unable to do it. Well, you obviously have two choices. Life has brought this situation to you. You either let go of your fear, or you create another mess. And you will eventually see that anything that comes from your mouth that is for the purpose of hiding what's in your heart will create one heck of a mess. And any actions of manipulation or non-truth or anything you do to protect yourself will end up destroying you. That's the deepest law you'll ever learn. Anything you do to protect yourself will destroy you. And anything you do to release the fear will give you infinite security. You will end up finding peace. That's what the Bible meant. Those who are first will be last, and those who are last will be first. And blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit. It's not meek, wasn't the real word. Those who are willing to utilize life to get them revealed and released will end up in the highest state. And those who use life to hide these soft spots of themselves and protect themselves will not have their life. They will lose their life. So these are the deep, deep teachings. And someone who's willing to let life be their teacher instead of using life to hide themselves will grow phenomenally. They will become something very, very great. And this is the ultimate truth, to live life in such an open state. Jai Gurudev.